To show you here, if I do update, this is a dialog box. Dialog box means I cannot go to the main window. I should finish this, close it, and then I can go back to the main window. I can go and view in Sim Builder. Okay, all I do, I come here and I'll say wrap in dialog pane. Can you see it? Wrap in a dialog pane. Okay, so once I wrap it in a dialog pane, I might move it to the middle one. So there's a head here, there's content, there's a middle. It might go a little bit in terms of horizontal size, you might need to resize it. And then if you wish to add some buttons, you don't add your own buttons. Don't add your own buttons. Is you just go to the actual dialog pane, and then in here you will see some ability to add buttons. For example, in here I'll be using OK. I have an OK button and I have a cancel button. Yeah. You see here I have two buttons. And the reason why I do this, add these buttons built in the dialog box, in the dialog pane, rather than creating my own, is that this will be auto-programmed, at least to close the dialog box. This is my student editor. Let me go to open in Sim Builder. Here's the student editor. What is the root element of this student editor? Is a dialog box. Okay, inside the dialog box, what do I have? A grid pane. The grid pane which has the rows and columns. And then how did I add these two buttons, OK and cancel? I did not drag them from here, like created a button. I can, of course. In here, I tried many things, but I found this one the simplest way possible, and that's what I'm recommending for you. So the way you create these buttons, you go to the dialog pane, you go to the properties, and you add them through here. You see here, I can cancel them, and then I can add them. Choose what's the title of these buttons, OK. And here is my cancel. It gets added. Showing you here, in many cases, you have a main form, like this one, displaying for you the list of students. And you have another form or another window where you want to add an update. So one way to do it, that extra form extra window that will be open, you better design it as a dialog. It's easier. It's the easiest way to have multiple forms. So when I click this one, what I'm showing here, a dialog box. And that dialog box, how do I open it as a dialog box? First, I create it and put it inside the dialog pane in the Sim Builder. What is remaining now is to show you when I click the updates, how do I show this dialog box? So let me show you now how this is done. So if I go to my controller, the student's controller, and this is the updates button. This is the handle the update. Okay, don't worry about this, I will explain it, but just let's start from here. So what I'm doing is I'm doing something similar to what I did in the app to launch the app. Remember, for launching the app, I load the fxml file, set it in a scene, add it to the scene, and then add the scene to the stage and show the stage. Remember this? We repeated this many times. Now, in here, I don't want to open another scene or another stage. All I want to do, I want to open a dialog box. So what I do here, I'll say, please, I create an instance of fxml loader. This fxml loader allows me to load the view from an fxml file. And then I'll say, please go ahead and from this location, which is student editor, I want you to go ahead and load for me the student editor. And by the way, in that fxml file, I have defined something, dialog pane. So I can immediately put it as dialog pane, or even as pane is fine. You can put it as a pane, either way. Okay? So this, up to now, what's happening is the fxml file is now loaded and placed into this variable called student dialog pane. What is left now is to show it to the user. How do I show it to the user? First, remember, if you look here, take a look at this one, what's happening here. When I click a user and then do update, what's happening in the dialog box when I open it? I show the student details, the selected student details. So what I'm doing here, before I open the form, before I show the dialog box, I take the selected student and pass it to the dialog box. Why I'm passing the student object to the dialog box? To show it in the UI, to allow the user to update. Yes? Okay, now, how do I pass this object? How do I pass this object from the main form? How do I pass the object from the main form to the dialog? That is the question. Yes? How do I pass the student object to the dialog? So the way I pass it, take a look at this. Because the dialog is just a UI, it doesn't have any coding. The view, remember the view is just fxml file. It doesn't have any logic. It doesn't have any coding. So I'll say to the fxml file, sorry, I cannot deal with the dialog box directly. I cannot go to the dialog box and say, oh, please, can you please somehow take the student as an object? It says, no, I cannot do this. Because remember, the dialog box is just user interface. So what I do here, I ask the loader, please give me the controller associated with the UI you just loaded. What is the controller associated with the student editor? Student controller. You can see here, if you take a look at this, If I go here, this is the student editor. What is the controller associated with it? The student controller. Yes? So what I'm doing here, I'll go to the FX loader and say, please give me the controller associated with the student editor. And magically, I will get an instance of student controller. And now I have access to the controller. So the loader gives me access to the controller. And then that's it. Once I have access to the controller, I ask the controller, please go ahead and do here's my student, please go ahead and pass it to the view. What do you think the view will do? What do you think the controller will do to show the student's object in the view? What this method, what do you think the set student is doing? The implementation.
It's binding if the attribute of the student with the text field, the copy text field.
That's it. Thank you very much. Excellent. Yes. You see here, if I go here, set student, what it's doing? The bidirectional binding. That's what it's doing. It's bidirectionally binding the ID field, the ID text field, text property with the student's ID property. And it's binding the first name field with the first name property, and so on. That's all it's doing. Okay. So let me quickly summarize what I just said. My goal is I have a main form, and within that main form, I want to open another form. Yes. So the many ways of doing it. One simple way of doing it. I create a view, and I make sure in that view, the root of that view will be dialog pane. Then in my controller, in the controller of the main form, the main window that gets displayed when the application launches, in that controller, I'll go and create an instance of XML file, fxml loader, and say, please go ahead and load for me this student editor fxml. And this will give me a dialog pane. Remember, because the root is a dialog pane, so I get a dialog pane. What do I do with this? Before I show this dialog pane, I'll ask the fxml controller, sorry, the FXML loader, please give me the controller associated with this dialog box. And then I get an instance of the controller. What do I do with the instance of the controller associated with the dialog box? I'll say, please, I have this student object. Please go ahead and bind it for me with the UI. Bind the ID text field with the ID property, and the first name text field with the first name property, and so on. Yeah. This way, the objects and the UI will be synchronized, kept in sync. And that's it. Now to show the dialog box, I create an instance of dialog, and I'll say, you can think of this dialog similar to stage. Remember stage? I take the stage and put scene inside the stage. In here, I don't have a stage. We just have a dialog. I could, by the way, create a stage and open it that way. But I decided to keep it simple, and I'll create it this way. I create a dialog. Can you see it here? Create a dialog instance of this component called dialog, and put the pane inside the dialog. Set some title in the dialog. For example, here the title is update student. Can you see it? Title is update student, and then that's it. I will open it and wait. Show and wait. It cannot be more clear than this. Take the dialog, show it, and then what to do? Wait. Wait for what? For the dialog to close. The main form cannot continue. Take a look. Can I continue to the main form? I have to wait for the user to make a decision here. What are the two decisions they can make? Okay or cancel. Okay or cancel, yes? So that's what this guy is doing. You see here, show and wait, and then you will get back a button type. And this button type will either be okay or it could be cancel. And based on that, you can do different logic. So in here, what I'm doing, show and wait. If it is okay, and if I am opening this form in add mode, I'll take this new student and add it to the observable list. Remember observable list? Once I add the student, magically it will appear in the list. Yeah. So if I go here and add a student, and say here, this is 300, test, and then okay, it shows up there. So that is the logic of doing it. Now, one thing I want to highlight, is clear how I created the dialog box? To summarize it in few sentences, I went ahead, created a view, made the root of that view a dialog pane. I went ahead to the controller of the main window. And in that controller, I asked the FXML loader, please go ahead and load this view for me. Go ahead and give me the controller associated with that view. And I take the controller and say, here is a student that I have, please take it from me and go ahead and bind it with the UI component. And then I'll show the dialog. I create an instance of dialog object and say to it, please take this dialog pane and show it to the user and wait. Once I wait, when the user makes up their mind, do the changes and make up their mind, they either click OK or cancel. If they click OK, I do some logic. If they click cancel, I don't need to do anything. Okay? Now, one thing I want to show you here is that very important. I am using the exact same form to handle both updates and add. Exact same form. Why I'm using the exact same form? Simply because I'm lazy. I don't want to create multiple forms. Okay? Reuse. I want to reuse the same forms. And how do I reusing the same forms? You see here what I'm doing, the add and update, I'm using the same event handler. How did I am using the same event handler? When you click update, when you click add, I take you to update. Same event handler. Why I'm doing the same event handler? I don't want to rewrite this code. But now, because I have the same code handling both add and update, I need to differentiate between them. So how do I differentiate? I'll say, okay, this is the event coming. I want to know from where it's coming. Is it coming from the update button? Then I am in update mode. This update mode is just an enumeration I created here. It could be, be either in add or updates. So I can go and say events. Please give me where did you come from? If you came from updates, then you are in update mode, and the dialog box will be update student, the title. And here, the student will be the currently selected student. The student that I pass to the dialog box will be the currently selected student. In case of add, the dialog box, the title will be add student. And what is the student I'll be passing to the dialog box? A new instance. The rest is the same. There's one more difference. When the form is submitted, if it is add, I add it to the observable list. It's up to you. You want to repeat and do two forms and two event handlers, it's up to you. But if you are lazy like me, do one form to handle both the add and update scenario. This is very common to do it this way. Because the add and update are exactly the same. Except in add, you are dealing with a blank object, a new object, without any values there. And with the update, you are dealing with an object that is already created. You're just changing it. Okay? Last thing I want to show you is for delete. Remember, for delete, I asked for confirmation. So the JavaFX comes with a lot of dialog boxes to allow us to do confirmation. All I do, I create an instance of this alert. Can you see it? Alert. And I can ask for many type of alert boxes. It could be, I just want to give some information to the user, or error, or a confirmation. In this case, I want confirmation. Either you want me to do, you are okay with going ahead with delete, or you want me to cancel this operation. And here I'm just setting the title, the header, and the context text box, and then I'll do show and wait. Same, you can see here when I click delete, this is what it shows. This dialog is built in JavaScript. All I do, how do I show it? How do I show this dialog? By creating an instance of alert object. Set the title, set the text that you want to show, and then do the show and wait. Do the show and wait. Now, when you do the show and wait, what's happening here? I'll basically wait when the results come back. It will be a button type, either OK or cancel. If it's OK, I'm going ahead and deleting. If it's cancel, I do nothing.